Hello, welcome back to the second part of the tutorial for Sully from Monsters Inc. In this part I will start by showing you how to make a tail. For a tail you need your turquoise bands and some purple bands. And you need your loom. And of course a hook. And I'm going to place the tail once I'm finished on a holding hook. I'm going to start by using 4 body colors or turquoise bands and place them on my top 2 packs in the middle, just like that. And then I'm going to take 4 more bands, 2 turquoise and 2 purple. And then next there will be 3 bands, all blue or turquoise. Then 3 more bands, 2 turquoise, 1 purple. Then 2 bands, both of them turquoise. 2 bands, 1 turquoise, 1 purple. And then a double looped turquoise band and another double looped turquoise band. So this is what you should have. 4 bands, 3 bands, 2 bands, and double loop bands. There's two purple here, 1 purple there, 1 purple here. The rest is all turquoise. Well, that's it so far. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create the spikes that are on his tail. He's got very small spikes, so we're not going to do much for them. Just create some small spikes. And the way we're going to do it is... just let me check one thing. Yeah, the bands were all blue, right? Yeah. I'm gonna grab a band, double loop it. I'm gonna lay it on this diagonal, and I'm gonna do it the same thing here, here, and here. So I'm gonna create 4 spikes like that, all with a double loop. Oh, it's too high. Double loop single, and all of them are turquoise. Now before we can start looming, what we have to do is place some capping bands. This one and this one are going to be purple, the other 3 are going to be turquoise, and all the capping bands are going to be looped around 4 times. So I'm going to start at the top, so I take a purple band and just place it right on the pack with 4 loops. So next one is a turquoise one. 3, 4 loops, a purple one, and another turquoise. And for the one at the bottom here, I'm going to do turquoise as well. So do one, no, it's perfect. Okay, now we can start looming, and first I'm going to loom these 4 bands, and then I'm going to do the whole row. I'm just going to start here at the top, go through my capping band, and grab the 2 bands below, and place them right back onto each other to create a teardrop. So go ahead and do that with all the capping bands here at the sides. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loom up the whole thing. So I'm just going to go in here, go up, and go in again. Just going up till we're at the top. Make sure you go in through all the bands. Okay, last 2, grabbing all 4 bands, make sure you don't miss any. And then I'm going to take off these sides first. and the tight part at the bottom. And then I'm just gonna go in, put my holding pin there, and just pull it right on there, and there you go, you have his tail. Just like that, with his spikes and his spots, because he's got some purple in his tail. And we are now gonna make his belly, because as you can see, I've created his back and did a bit of stomach attachment to give him a real bulky belly, to make him a bit fatter. And for his belly, all you need is turquoise bands. And did I do 3 bands in the middle? Yeah. Okay. What we're gonna do first is lay out his body and then lay out his extensions, because he's gonna have some extensions at the side. It's actually 5 rows long. So if you have 2 loops, you can just lay an extra layer here and there, and you can do extensions separately. If you just have 1 loom, follow what I do. I'm gonna start by taking 2 bands on the diagonal, just like that, and then come down 5 times on the side. 2 bands. 2 bands at a time. And the other side as well. And I'm gonna close off the diagonals towards the inside. Also 2 bands. So this is what you should have. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fill up the middle, and instead of using 2 bands, I'm gonna use 3 bands at a time to give him a little bit of extra bulk. Grab 3 bands at a time. And his body, his stomach, actually the first time I made it all turquoise or blue, but what I'm gonna do is the side ones, so extensions, I'm gonna give him a little bit of purple there, because you definitely should see some purple on his body part if you look at him from the front, and because we made the extensions you can't see any purple of his back, so if we put a little bit of purple here it looks a little bit more like the actual Sully. So I'm going to start with my extensions, and my extensions are going to be made from the second pack on the top right here to the 6th pack. So on these 4 packs I'm gonna push the bands that are lying on there down a bit on each side actually, and I'm just gonna lay 2 bands at a time. And what I'm gonna do is for the top one use a purple and a blue or turquoise, then 2 turquoise, again a turquoise and a purple, and then 2 turquoise. But you can make your own design, you can make him all turquoise or give him fuller spots. I choose 1 band to create like small spots and not 2 big ones. But I'm gonna do the same thing at the other side. Okay, now I'm going to place my holding bands, and I'm going to start at the bottom, and on each triangle I'm going to place a single band, just like that. And I'm going to do that with 4 triangles, and now on the top here I'm going to double loop my triangle. I'm going to do a double loop band and create a triangle with it. So you should have 4 single looped holding bands and 1 double looped one. Now what we have to do is we have to place 3 capping bands, and all of them going to be 4 loops. It's this one, that one, and that one. So on each of the bottom 3 packs I'm going to create a capping band. The ones on the side will be capping bands for the extension, and the one on the bottom will be the capping band of your whole thing, the whole belly. 1, 2, 3, 4 loops. Okay. Now what we're going to do first is we're going to loop up these extensions, so the sides, so leave these be for now, and once we've done that we can remove part of the extension so that we can loom the rest. So I'm going to go at the side through the capping band that I placed for the extension, through the holding band, let me show you, and then I'm going to grab the top 2 bands, so the 2 bands that I'm using for the extension, only these 2, the bottom 2 right here I'm going to leave on, I'm going to loom them later. Just like that. And the same on the next back, I'm going to go in through the holding band, because I want to loom the holding band in, but I'm not going to touch the bands below my extension bands. And the one with the purple is last. So right here I loomed the whole extension, and before I start with the other part I'm going to take it off, but I can't take the whole thing off. I have to leave this pack, so this band on, and I have to leave the top band on. So the top and the bottom stay on, but these I'm going to just pull off like that. And after I pull them off, I want to make sure that the triangles of my holding bands are still in position. If you pull them off, this can happen, but that way, if this happens, if we loom the next layer, the holding bands won't be properly placed, so I want them to be around my pack, just like that. So make sure your triangles stay intact. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, so go in through all your capping bands, and through your holding band, and grab the top layer right there and loom it on top of itself. Through the holding band, just like that, through the holding bands. That one already came off, but it's okay. And through the holding bands. And again, I'm going to just pull it off. I'm going to use my hook. Make sure you pull the whole extension off, not just half of it. All of it, I want it to be pushed to the sides. And again, I leave the top and the bottom one right on there. Now what I have to do is make sure my triangles are in position. So this one I need to place back. And now I'm ready to start looming, but before I do, I'm actually going to place some bands with which I'm going to attach the whole thing later. So I'm going to place a band right here, I'm going to place a band right here, and it's okay if it's on top of your holding band, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to place a band right here, so every other pack. See, normally your shoulders would be, so the top 2 right there, and going down, just like that. So I placed some extra bands just like we did with the hat before, and we're going to use them later on to attach his belly. You can, if I stretch it, you can see those bands I used to attach there, and they give him his round shape. So right now I can go through the capping band and the band I placed on top as an extra, and just loom up, and I can loom up the whole middle. So I'm going to start by doing that. Of course these bands fall off. Oh. So the whole middle row is done. Okay, now I started this to go to a side, and I'm going to take this band, go and place it on top of itself. I'm going to go through all the bands right here, grab the bottom 2, and I can loop them onto himself, and I need to make sure that the band I placed to attach later, my attachment bands or how you want to call them, still on there. Gonna go in through all the bands and attach them right there. Again on this one, and I can just loom up this whole side all the way to the top. Grab bottom bands and check. Yeah, I got my extra band here, so I can loom that one. And here as well. Okay, that's one side done. Now I'm going to do the last side, so start at the bottom again. I sometimes forget this one and it's horrible because your whole thing will fall apart, so definitely don't do that. Make sure. Here, do your diagonals as well. And again here, go through that other capping band and the holding bands and whatever is on there, and grab the bottom two bands. Here as well. Okay, I only loomed one of the two bands here, so I'm gonna go back in to see if I can find the other one. Yeah, it's right here. And there. Okay. Just like that. And all we have to do is create a slip knot on top, and that band we will use later as well to attach his belly, his stomach. So go through all the loops, and grab your bands. I'm gonna use turquoise, and just pull it through, attach the other side, and take the first side, pull it over. Just there you go. There you have your slip knot, and I can take his whole belly right off. So what we have now is his belly with some bands sticking out, but that's okay because those we will be using later. Just want to pull them to one side, but we can do that once we are attaching. So yeah, his stomach with a bit of purple, I think that's gonna look great on him. We also have his head, you made it in the first part of the tutorial, and his tail. And now I'm gonna pause the video again, and in the next part I will be showing you how to make his arms. Or actually one arm, because I already made one as well. And then the last part will be his legs, his back, and how to attach him. So go ahead and watch the third part of the tutorial.